When the camera was turned inside this tunnel, surprisingly, they saw a track there. They were still confused about the purpose of the track here when a minecart standing far away caught their attention. When the local authorities came to know about it, they brought a map of a lost tunnel from the era of World War II. It was found that this tunnel was built about 80 years ago during World War II, and for the last many years, the local authorities were searching for this tunnel. The entrance of this tunnel was closed by placing a heavy stone, after which the soil and grass of the past years also erased the traces of its entrance, but from inside this tunnel was exactly matching the tunnel seen on the map. Looking at the track and minecart inside it, it seems that it was used to store goods during the World War era. Most of the iron items present in the tunnel had rusted. Tools like shovel, drill bits, and spade were found here in the same condition as they were used by the Norwegian military 80 years ago. Soldiers had to face countries like America and Britain during World War I. During this period, Hitler's army built thousands of underground bunkers. Hitler had started it, but later the Allied forces also started using underground tunnels and bunkers. During World War I, bunkers had a lot of strategic importance, and their purpose was for both defense and offense. That is, sometimes their work was to avoid enemy attacks, and sometimes they were used to attack the enemy. These bunkers protected from enemy airstrikes and artillery shells, and provided a secure base to the soldiers. Defensive bunkers were designed on the front line in such a way that they could stop enemy attacks, like Germany's Atlantic Wall, which was a strong barrier against the attacks of the Allied forces. Also, some bunkers were used for planning from where the commanders managed their operations secretly. So much underground space was built during World War II. Bunkers and war rooms were constructed in such a way that even today it is not possible to count them, because thousands of them are still buried somewhere under the ground. It is said that during World War II, in 1910, the Allied powers and Axis powers spent so much on underground bunkers that there was a shortage of iron and cement all over the world. According to an estimate, the cost of building all these bunkers was about $500 billion to $1 trillion today. Understand that America's 20-year war in Afghanistan cost $100 million per day, while in World War I, it cost $460 million per day to build bunkers. Let us go into the bitter memories of history and learn about a few bunkers. The Atlantic Wall was a very large coastal defense system built by Norway, Germany during World War I. Thousands of people were involved in this system built between 1940 and 1944. Bunkers, ammunition depots, and forts were included. At that time, Hitler had control over many areas of France. A part of the Atlantic Wall was also spread in Norman, an area of northern France, where an artillery battery named Logus-Surmer was installed. These bunkers were designed to face heavy bombs and give defensive fire during attacks. If we talk about Norway, its lower part could be used to stop the Allied forces coming from the North Atlantic Ocean. That is why Hitler had buried some parts of the Atlantic Wall here too. Here fortresses like Kristiansand protected the naval routes. Apart from this, Netherlands was also under the control of Norway at that time, and thousands of safe houses named bunkers were built on the coast of the North Atlantic. This entire Atlantic Wall of Nazi Germany, which included underground bunkers, depots, tunnels, artillery batteries, and forts, was built by the company of a German engineer named Fritz Todt. All these works were built by 260,000 workers, most of whom were prisoners. The structures were built forcefully in just 2 to 4 years. Even today, some parts of the Atlantic Wall are present as historical monuments, which give a sense of the engineering of World War II and the expenses incurred on it. When Hitler built the Atlantic Wall, the Allied powers had no idea that how much difficulty they would have to face in the future. Then, in 1942, an incident happened which opened the eyes of America and Britain. The Canadian forces, which were a part of the Allied powers, planned an attack on the area of Debs in France, which is remembered today as the DF Raid. The purpose of this attack was to understand the Atlantic Wall built by Hitler and how it works. These strong, concrete bunkers made the Allied attack a miserable failure. This was a big setback for the Allied forces because they had so much faith in the strength of the Atlantic Wall. Soldiers came, out of which 3,600 were either killed or became prisoners of the Nazis. After Deep Rat, The Allied forces realized that if they had to successfully attack Hitler's regime, they would have to invest a lot in the planning of bunkers and defense systems. Therefore, a lot of money was spent on the construction of bunkers and tunnels in Canada, as well as the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union. Churchill War Rooms was built in an underground complex. It was the headquarters of British Prime Minister Winston Churchill during World War I. This complex was designed so that Norway could remain safe from Germany's airstrikes. France's Maginot Line was built after World War I. Here, too, new underground bunkers and tunnels were built. France was confident that this system would protect them. But in World War II, Germany captured France through Belgium by building the Maginot Line. In the other corner of the world, Japan, which was supporting Hitler in World War II, also had hundreds of underground bunkers. Bunkers were dug. A whole network was built under the EO border, which included hidden artillery positions, storage rooms, and living quarters. These tunnels were used for surprise attacks during the attack of the Allied forces. The bunkers and tunnels of Onwa were on a larger scale and were more complex, where thousands of Japanese soldiers would be in position for defense and resistance. This defensive system was designed to thwart Allied invasions and kill as many people as possible. The engineering of the bunkers built by various countries during World War II is no less than a miracle. Firstly, there was the war. On top of that, there was a shortage of everything, and along with all these challenges, there was the danger of airstrikes every passing moment. And workers also died of suffocation while constructing the underground tunnels. But despite all these challenges, thousands of bunkers were not only built, but many of them are still hidden under the ground in the same condition till date, especially those built in Axis power countries, because after World War I, when their rule ended, the soldiers either closed the entrance of the bunker and ran away or died inside it. Hence, no one came to know which bunker was built at which location. There was a way to find out the location of all these bunkers and tunnels, and that was the secret documents that Hitler's government had. Fresh air used to circulate inside the entire bunker, but despite so much security, this bunker was made invisible in the jungle landscape. Soil was put on its roof and the same trees and plants were planted on it which were present in the nearby jungle. Due to this, when any ship passed from above, it would not have even the slightest doubt that Hitler's headquarters is present here. The Allied powers, i.e. USA, UK, Canada, and other forces, planned for years to break the strong defensive bunkers and Atlantic Wall of Norway, Germany. More than 156,000 troops, 5,000 ships, and 11,000 aircraft were used to fight the Atlantic Wall built by Hitler. It was the day of 6th June 1944, which is remembered as D-Day. On this day, Germany faced the Allied forces with the bunkers and artillery of the Atlantic Wall, but their planning and resources were not that effective. Allied airstrikes and paratroopers fought hard against German communication and defense. Initially, Germany had to face a lot of losses, but finally they succeeded in breaking Nazi Germany's control over Europe. Hope you all will like and share this video of what, when, where. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next great video.